Hello and welcome to another bonus episode of the Scarf Bagara War. Last time we spoke, Lee, I said award nominated podcast. We actually lost that award to the County Park Alert System, so still award nominated, never won. So I'm sure we'll win one in the future. Bonus podcast. We're just going to talk to Lee from the Brunton Bugle ahead of tomorrow night's or tonight's, whenever you're listening to this or watching this big, massive, huge clash in League Two. And when we spoke last time, I don't think we'd ever have dreamt that we'd be here with sort of 3-4 games to go at this point. So welcome, Lee. Glad to see you again, mate. You okay?
Yeah, getting a bit nervous now. You know, we're into the final throws, the running, and it's like you said. I don't think we could have imagined at the start of the season we'd be where we are now. I think we're all over the moon to be challenging for a top 3 place. You know, there's some fans who might think we've blown a top 3 place because we were in such good form, and last few weeks it's been a bit tougher. But I look at it the other way. I think, you know what, to go from 23rd when Simpson took over last season to be 5th place with a shot of top 3 with 4 games to go, I'd bite anyone's hand off for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because last time we spoke, you said that you were overachieving in 7th place, having only lost to Stevenage and Leyton Orient at the time.
Yeah.
And now there's no splitting us in terms of Stockport and Carlisle. So football has a funny old ways of doing this, doesn't it? We're on the same points, we're on the same obviously games played, so there's no games in hand. I think if I just get me numbers right,
you got one better goal difference, I think.
Yeah, I think we're above you on goal difference. We generally score more than you. No, you generally score more than us. We concede less than you. Okay, you've had a poor run in the last 7. I think you've only won once in the last 7, but you must still fancy your chances, surely.
Yeah, when I looked at the running, this was the fixture I looked at and thought to myself, this is the one I'd sort of pencil and say, we'll lose that one, but that's fine. We can get results in the other ones. It hasn't really quite worked out like that. But it's strange because we're not playing badly. There's no games where you think we're having absolute stinkers here and we're getting battered or anything. In fact, the exact opposite. Defensively, we've been outstanding over the last 2 months in that you go back to when mid-February or Valentine's Day massacre we had against Mansfield Town. They were 4-0 up at halftime against us, and we could not understand what had gone wrong that day. We just turned into a shambles overnight, and it was just, I think there was a little bit of soul searching after that game. And since then, we've played 11 games and we've only conceded 5 goals. And of those 5, 2 of those goals were against Crawley Town in a game we won 5-2. So, they don't really matter. We were 4-0 up when we conceded the first of those goals. So that tells you all you need to know about that one. And then the other ones was the only ones that really mattered were a goal against Swindon Town where we won 2-1 with a late winner from Ryan Edmondson. So that's probably the nearest you get to one that actually matters. And the other 2 was a 96th-minute winner for Gillingham in the game down there, in a game where, neither side really offered much in that game, and they just sort of scabbed the goal late on. And then Leyton Orient, we lost 1-0 there to a John Mellish own goal where it took 2 deflections before he even hit John Mellish's knee and looped over Thomas Sholey to go in the goal. So in reality, we don't concede goals at the moment. We've been so good at the back. But the problem is, at the other end, we've, I think, only scored 2 goals in our last 7 games. So that's where the big problem is right now for us. So do I fancy my chances? I'd fancy a 0-0 any day of the week. It would be our 8th 0-0 of the season, and I think the record's something like 9, so we're closing in on that unfortunate record. But like I said, we look so tight, and it's one of those things where you go into a run-in. If you lose a bit of form, the last thing you want to do is start conceding goals left, right, and centre, because that becomes a problem if you can't stop conceding goals. We aren't conceding goals. The problem we've got is just start scoring them every end. If you can sort that out, we're in a great position going into the playoffs potentially. I sound like I'm being defeatist there, but my kind of thought is if we'd beaten Northampton the weekend, I still would have backed us a chance to get the top 3. Now, I think we need to beat you guys to have any chance of doing it. I think a draw wouldn't be enough. To be honest, I don't think a draw would be enough for either of us, mainly because of the teams having games in hand around us.
Yeah, and we're notoriously difficult to beat as well. We haven't conceded many. I think we've 20 clean sheets this season. Just shows you
Down 19. So.
Yeah. So this defense you've got then, is Ben Barkley a pivotal part of that, or has he not been playing much? Because he won't be available tomorrow night, will he? I don't think.
He's been in and out. When he's played, I've been really impressed. I think he looks a really good player in the ball. He looks adaptable. He's played right wing back as well for a couple of games. So in fact, he played right wing back when we beat Barrow 5-1. And he had a great game there. His long ball forward set up pretty much the first goal for John Mellish that evening. He hasn't really had as much of a chance because when our first choice back three has been fit, which is Morgan Feeney on the right-hand side, Paul Huntington, another former player yours, down the middle, and John Mellish as the left centre-back. John Mellish, who Mike on our pod describes as the world's first box-to-box defender. And that's not an exaggeration. When we play a back three, he just plays where the hell he wants. He gets up and down because Callum Guy will slot in and cover, or we just drop to be a back four. So he's been brilliant in that position. So Ben's position really is on the right-hand side of the back three, and Morgan Feeney's our captain, and he's been unbelievable all season. Unfortunately, he tore his hamstring against Lane Orient, so he's out for the season now. So it's Ben's position to lose, which unfortunately he has to lose for this game because you guys, as you rightly should do, have said no, he can't play in the games against us. So it looks like Corey Weiner will come in to fill in that slot. Although there's some talk we might switch to a back four for the first time this season because we're thinking, well, we've got to find a way to try and score goals and change up the way we're playing. The problem we've got is right wing back's a cursed position for us right now in that we've had two really good right wing backs for us this season in Finn back on loan from Forest and Jack Ellis, who's come from our academy. Look brilliant, and they're both out for the season with torn hamstrings. Right. Hamstrings have been a huge problem for us this season. Like we've had about probably 8 or 9 different hamstring injuries. It always seems to happen on away pitches that aren't very good. You know, Salford's one where it's happened. Hartlepool, Walsall was Ellis's latest one. Orient's pitch is not the greatest, and it happened there. Never pick up these injuries on our own pitch, which is frustrating. But yeah, so Barkley, when he's come in, he's been great. He's not played that many because he had an ankle injury picked up in like the first round of the League Cup, and then he was out till pretty much Christmas because of that. And I think he came back for it, and then he played a reserve game, and he did the other ankle or something like that, I think. And it was just like, that's just our luck. With injuries this season, we've had horrendous luck. When he's come in, been so reliable, I can't really think of too many bad games he had. There was a couple of games after he came back in where he, when Huntington was out injured, funny enough, he played as the right side centre back and Feeney moved inside. He got 2 very good yellow cards in those games when players had got away from him. Very good professional fouls. That's the only times I thought, he's been done by someone there. He's perceptively quick, for someone who doesn't seem to run that quickly. He gets back and covers quite well. I really like him. I'd love to sign him in the summer personally. I think he's a player who potentially could, if we went up, do well for us in League One. The stumbling block is the wage, and it's been pretty much admitted that if we were paying his full wage, he'd be our highest earner.
Oh wow!
We can't really justify that. It's similar with the whole Jack Stretton thing. Obviously, you guys stacked him up in January, and Paul Simpson basically said, "Look, if we match the wage Stockport were offering, he would be our highest earner." And I can't justify that with the budget we're on. He would be above. I think Huntington's probably our highest on about 2K. So yeah, so basically the case of we just have to deal with the card we're dealt. But yeah, Barkley, I like him. I'd like to sign him permanently, but the injuries are a concern there.
Yeah, you probably might get the chance because whether we stay down or whether we go up ourselves, he's probably not going to get back into the team that we've got. No. So moving on to your scoring then and your inability to score. Well, I mean, what do you put that down to? Because Christian Dennis, again, another former county player, pretty good striker. Well, very good striker. I really, really rated him when he was at county. Gutted to see him go. I think he came back twice, actually. What's going on with your forward line? What's the issue there?
Dennis isn't the problem. Dennis has got to 20 goals this season. He's the first player to do it for us since 2005, 2006 when Carl Hawley did it, when we won the title that season. Right, we played you on the last day. Remember, we got that the most welcoming 0-0 I think anyone's ever got. So we were quite happy with that.
Isn't Carl Hawley's from Stockport? Is he not?
I don't know. I think Carl Hawley's from Walsall. He's down Birmingham way. We got him from Walsall originally. But yeah, it's a really hard one to pin down. We've just recorded our preview episode for this midweek game, and me and Dan from our pod were having a chat about it. And we really can't put our finger on it. It's weird because I don't think the strikers, we had Patrick and Dennis at the moment. We seem to be sticking with them as the front two. Simmer's seems to be like, right, I'm going to stick with a front two at the moment. They're not doing much wrong, but we're not really getting good. But I mean, Dennis was coming so deep to win the ball on Saturday against Northampton. And Northampton are a very good side, probably the best side I've seen this season. Really impressed with them. And he was constantly having to come back and he was laying off nicely, but then there was no one up there for the ball. And it's kind of like, how do you resolve this? My opinion is our midfield three is very good, but they're very one-dimensional. Callum Guy, as one of my friends describes him as Ungailo Kante because he just covers so much ground. He's never been the most adventurous player going forward, but he scored 3 goals from long range this season. But he's not done much since he scored his last one, which I think was against Salford back in that was November last year. He's really good. But then you've got Moxon, who arguably should be up for League Two Player of the Season. He's not one of the players nominated. It was Pierre, Gianni, Hoskins, and Cook, which were kind of a bit like, but hey, 3 good players to be fair. He's having a great first season as a professional with us. He's signing for Man and Athletic in the summer. He came through our academy, let go at 16, done his dues in the Scottish lower leagues, come back 8 years later, and he'll get a big move in the summer. We're fairly confident of that because he's just been that good. But he's gone off the boil in the last 5 to 6 weeks. And I think that's a case of, we were saying in our pod, it's maybe not a case of physical tiredness, but more mental. To be going from driving a van during the week for UPS and training part-time to play full-time. He's missed 1 league game, I think, this season. And I said before our game at Gillingham, I'd rest him for this one just to keep him fresh for the running. We didn't, and his set pieces have gone a bit poor as well. That might be as much to do with the defenders and people attacking it. But yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. So we're kind of in a position where we've got Alfie McCalmont in there as well. He's on loan from Leeds. He's looked a really good player, but they're all very good scrappy midfielders, win the ball back, push forward a bit, like to pass it a bit, but they won't take on a man. They're maybe not looking for that clever little ball around the corner as much. So we're kind of, on our pod, we're saying, do we drop one of them? Probably McCalmont, because I don't think he's likely to drop Moxon. And then either push Jordan Gibson back to there, who's had to fill in at right wing back, one of the 8 players who've played at right wing back for us this season. Stick him there and put Joel Senior back at right wing back, or bring Jamie Devitt in. The problem with Jamie Devitt is, as great a player as he is, he can't stay fit anymore, and that's he's got his calves just don't last out long enough. So we're using him at the moment for about half an hour at a time. Could we get 60 minutes out of him and sub him off for Moxon or McCalmont or Gibson and go again then? I don't know. We feel like we need to change it, because one thing we did actually early in the season is when we play this 3-5-2 is that if we feel like we're not getting a grip on midfield and we're not getting enough players far forward up the pitch winning the ball, when we were playing with Moxon, Guy, and Gibson, and Gibson's more of a winger, but we played him as a number 10, and he's quite good in that sort of scrappy midfield role. What we could do is we could say, right, we're going to go 4-3-3, and you push Mellish up into midfield, which he's played before for us, and he's more than capable of just going in there and causing chaos. He just runs around and bashes into people. Gibson goes to be a winger, Patrick goes to be a winger, and Dennis is down the middle, and you go 4-3-3. Where we haven't done that for about 2-3 months, and we're kind of saying, let's go back to that. Mm-hmm. Teams couldn't cope with that, because teams would be sort of like, what are they doing now? They've completely changed the way they're playing. And we could do that mid-game, but we haven't done that for a while. So I don't know, because like I said, we're not playing awfully. We're not creating the same sort of chances we were. And I think a little bit of that chaos element would really help us with that.
Yeah. Interesting take on that. And the referee tomorrow,
as I was about to say his name,
as we alluded to. I mean, I'm just quickly looking at the video that we did last time, the recording with last time. The first thing you said, you were bemoaning the ref that you had against Leyton Orient the match before, where the only thing that this referee got right was sending off your player, your lad, and it's Parsons. And I couldn't believe it when I checked when it got announced.
Couldn't either. Yes, Thomas Parsons, referee. First season as the EFL referee, isn't it? I think, and that was the first time he's refereed us. And yeah, he had absolutely no grip on the game at all. I mean, Orient are a very streetwise, very clever team. Richie Wellens is constantly moaning on the touchline. He's not particularly popular with our fans anyway, Wellens, to be fair. Pratley, pretty much ref the game, to be fair. Very smart player. That's one reason we'd actually like Jamie Devitt in the team, because he's very good at that. He's constantly in the referee's ear, constantly saying, you've got this wrong, you should be doing this. And referees cave to it, they're only human.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, that's why I get Devitt in there. But yeah, he was just dreadful that day. He missed an obvious handball for a penalty, which then, but literally 20 seconds later is when Edmondson had the tangle with Pratley and got sent off. Rightly got sent off, but gives the penalty. That doesn't happen. And then the offside decision, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Ball was played through. Their striker was coming back from offside. None of our players touched the ball. And the player nipped it and went through and goal and scored. And it was like, well, no one's touched it. And they were trying to say, oh, no, someone touched it. They didn't. And as it was, we got 2 apologies from the EFL for that game. Now, occasionally you get 1 apology. We've had a couple from other games this season, but to get 2 in one game, I'm just hoping he's learned his lesson, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, if we've got the same referee, haven't we? We could probably do our own series on the referees just at this level anyway, because we've had some really bad ones as well. So yeah, we've both got him. In terms of the occasion, obviously, I mean, it's as big as we've had for 15 years, I guess, probably since the last time we played you, I would say. Maybe not, I'm telling a lie. But it's a fairly big occasion, as high as we've been for a long time. We're bringing over 1,000, which is pretty good for a Tuesday night. I think if it had been at weekend, we'd have brought a lot more. What's the occasion like from your perspective? Is it being treated as a big one?
It is, but I kind of feel like if we'd beaten Northampton at the weekend, it would have been even bigger. People were like, yes, get a win here. We really are in contention for a top 3 finish, because our final 3 games are against 8th, 9th and 10th in Salford, Barrow and Sutton. And Sutton, with any luck, will be on the beach on the final day by the time we play them. So it's kind of like, this was looking at it, we're thinking this is our real last stinker of a game to play in. So we're like, right, the chance to get behind them. I still think it'll be a big crowd. I think you're still looking at about 8,000 plus crowd, possibly. I mean, we've got 8,000 against Northampton the weekend. They brought just under 600 up for that, which is a good effort for the distance.
Yeah.
But it's a midweek game. I mean, I'm driving up from Liverpool for the game, but a lot of the people who live far away won't be able to get up to it, I'd imagine. So they'll be watching on the iPhone. So the 1,000 you brought might push it towards that 8,000 mark. I hope it is a good occasion. And I think we just want to see a goal as much as anything. We scored 2 against Tranmere, but that's the only 2 goals we've scored in the last 7. And it's frustrating because, like I said, we look so solid at the back, but we just need something, just a little spark up front or something, just to kick us on, a bit of luck maybe to grab a couple of goals early on. I just don't count the Tranmere game because they were so awful. I've never seen a team have so much of the ball and do so little with it. They were absolutely appalling that day. But yeah, occasion wise, I think there's kind of a feeling among our fans now, because we've got a 5-point gap with 4 to go. Not the playoffs are secured, but it would take something horrendous from us to miss out on them now, I think. So yeah, I think it depends how we start, really. I mean, we're all expecting a tough game because you guys are probably one of the better sides to play this season. We didn't really turn up that night, but you guys were so at it from the first whistle. We just never got going.
Yeah. I was quite surprised at how the fact that you didn't turn up on back in October. It felt like an easy victory. Where you were in the league at the time. I was expecting a much more difficult match than that. Okay, finally then, let's go with score predictions. What do you think?
Right, when we did ours before for our pod, what did I go for? I went for a 3-2 win. I thought, what? Been so few goals for a while. It's about time there was a bit of a humdinger where there was loads of goals. I mean, to be fair, Dan, who does our pod, he went for a 4-3 win. He went for a mental one. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win. And Christian Dennis is, of course, going to score. And that's just inevitable, isn't it? I think, Christian Dennis will score for us. And probably, who else did I go for? Jamie Devitt and Paul Huntington will get the other one. And for you guys, obviously, it's going to be Madden and Stretton that will get the goals.
Yeah.
That's inevitable, isn't it, I guess? But there you go.
Nice one. Right. Well, let's leave it there. Definitely a short one, just to do a match preview. Good luck after tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'll say. And I'll join you on your show very, very shortly. I'm just going to play a couple of clips and then we'll do the outro. All right. Cheers, Lee. Cheers for that, mate. I appreciate it.
No problem.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And for the audio podcast, please rate, review, and recommend us on whatever podcast player you are listening to us on. Cheers, thank you.
This episode of the Scarf Bagara War was written, recorded, and produced by Russ Johnson and Nick Lee. The music on the opening titles was produced by Dan Johnson. Subscribe wherever you get your content, as well as finding out how to join the TSBW fan club. Check out the links in the description or go to allthews scarfbagarawar.co.uk.